£30 in the last 18 months, a bit like myself. But he just looks an altogether different type of horse, really, different type of model. Looks a hurdler, which is sort of a pumped up chaser. And, obviously the good doctor's done exceptionally well with him, won 4 of his 7 for him since joining from John Flint and gone from 92 to 123. Novice handicaps would probably be the order of the day, you'd think.
And here completing the field is Lishnagar Oscar. Useful over hurdles, we know that, and quite a bit of promise in his chasing debut effort at Chepstow.
Yeah, another handsome horse from the Rebecca Curtis yard. We've seen one already this afternoon. He was beaten, but this lad looks as though he should improve for that Chepstow run. Doesn't have the sort of the size, the scope, and the magnitude really of a down the highway, does he?
He's more of an athletic-looking individual.
Yeah. He's got to be nimble, compact. And that's going to be the way that he's going to get from A to B. I think the fact that he's going to have to use his athleticism. Be fascinating to see how he gets on today against one or two sort of more robust types. But I thought when he warmed to his task at Chepstow and got some confidence, he came back on the bridle in the straight and looked as though he was going to win that race quite comfortably until that mistake at the last. So it'd be interesting to see how much he learns from that.
Seems a very busy day at Stratford, and racegoers of all ages enjoying having a look at the horses in the paddock ahead of this intriguing beginner's chase. There's Lishnagar Oscar, the odds-on favourites, heading down to post under Sean Bowen. 4 to 5 at the moment. Black Op 9 to 4, 8 to 1 down the highway. Mr. Antolini 12s from 16s, 33 to 1. Mr. Caffrey might be, maybe I'm guessing, but. Black Op, if you think of his best form, if he can rediscover some of that back over fences, 9 to 4 might be fairly generous.
Well, the runners have just made their way out here at Stratford, and Emma Lavelle is alongside me, of course, down the highway in this. He's a big lad, isn't he?
He's a very big lad. He's he's got chaser stamped all over him, but he's a big unit, and we've done as much as we can with him at home, but I have no doubt he'll improve a bit for coming here today.
It looks as though you've alighted on quite a hot race as well.
Yeah, definitely. The thing is, it's a very hot race, but there's 5 runners. It's a lovely track to start a novice off at, and we've got to start somewhere. And so, you hope that they're nice horses. They'll be able to travel at a sensible pace, and jump and do things right, and give our horse a nice introduction as well. So, I'd probably, if I'm honest, rather run in a field like this than 18 runners and risk the traffic issues on the way through.
Sure. And at least we've got a bit of soft ground, so I guess you want to crack on now, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. You can dodge and duck and dive and try and find the weakest race, but actually exactly that. Let's get going. And, as I say, he's done plenty at home, but he needs to go to the track. He's a big unit, and there's only so much you can do at home.
Okay, best of luck.
Thank you. Cheers.
8 to 11 then. Lishnagar Oscar, 5 to 2 Black Op, 8 to 1 down the highway, 12's Mr. Antolini, and 33 to 1 the outsider Mr. Caffrey. And there is the favourite in shot. Sean Bowen in the saddle for Rebecca Curtis. I just wonder, Sam, look, he's odds on, but with the benefit of a run on a track which really ought to suit him, whether he's going to have too many guns at Black Op today.
Yeah, I think he should have a little bit more latent speed, you'd hope. Certainly travelled quite well through that race at Chepstow. He never looked as though he's a horse that's not got a good cruising speed and can move through a race, even at a good pace, and travel sweetly. So just whether his jumping just stands up to it, really. This should be a little bit easier. I'm a little bit of the opinion that I don't think he's particularly in love with Chepstow, if I'm honest. He made heavy weather over hurdles, win there as well, so maybe Stratford will suit him a little bit better. It's a great opportunity for him. He's the one the market wants. He's taking on a couple of horses that look as though they will improve for the run. Certainly recent history is telling you that some George horses are just needing a run or two just to find their feet.
Although he looked pretty straight, I thought.
He did, yeah. He looked straighher than down the highway, but, I'm no great paddock judge, so, cue him lagging up by about 12 lengths. But, I've always been a big fan of Lishnagar Oscar, and hopefully he can just translate some of that hurdle form to fences. But he's not... Yeah, like we touched on in the paddock shots, he hasn't quite got the size and scope of one or two of these, but what he lacks probably in scope, he makes up for in athleticism, and he's quite nimble-footed, so hopefully he can put that to good use.
Fascinating clash between 5 horses who've all shown a level of ability over hurdles, and in the case of Lishnagar, Oscar and Black Hop already over fences. Starters ready for them. Let's go back up to the box and rejoin Martin.
Cheers, Stu. The two market rivals leading them in. They're off for the Charlotte Cole Memorial Beginners Chase, over 2 miles and about 5 furlongs, 13 fences to cross. And Black Op leads Lishnagar Oscar down to the first, with the other three virtually in line behind them. Mr. Caffrey on the outside landed third, ahead of Mr. Antolini and Down the Highway, as Black Op leads them around the first turn. Moving on by just over a length to Lishnagar Oscar as they approach the first of 2 fences adjacent to Muddy Lane. It's Black Hop from Lishnagar Oscar as they reach the second, with Down the Highway through on the inside of Mr. Antolini and Mr. Caffrey. That trio racing virtually in line as they come to jump fence number 3. It'll be Black Hop who reaches it about a length and a half in front of Lishnagar Oscar, with Down the Highway and Mr. Caffrey third and fourth, and Mr. Antolini just popped out the back as Black Hop leads them around another left-hander. 2 in front of Lishnagar Oscar as they level up to the 2 fences jumped in the back straight. It's fence number 4 upcoming, Black Hop, with Lishnagar Oscar a length down in second, 2 lengths to Mr. Caffrey on the outside of Down the Highway as they jump fence number 4. Last to clear it was Mr. Antolini. Now to the open ditch down the back, fence number 5, Black Hop from Lishnagar Oscar. As they come in to jump it, there'd be a length and a half between them, with Down the Highway jumping up really well on the inside, a close third. Mr. Caffrey out widest of all, and between them is Mr. Antolini as they gallop towards the end of the back straight. So Black Hop and Jonathan Burke yet to be headed. Lishnagar Oscar's raced in second since flagfall. The other 3 have rather chopped and changed positions, with Mr. Caffrey and Down the Highway third and fourth now, and Mr. Antolini last of the 5, as Black Hop, with a 2-length advantage over Lishnagar Oscar, leads them back towards the fences up the home straight. Down the Highway on the inside of Mr. Caffrey, third and fourth. Mr. Antolini between them, and the length back is last as they head on towards the first of 3 fences jumped in the home straight. On this circuit, it's fence number 6, Black Hop from Lishnagar Oscar, about a length and a half between them, and the other 3 in the air at the same time. Mr. Caffrey charting the widest course, Down the Highway going the inside route, and between them Mr. Antolini. Black Hop has a 3-length advantage, jumping the water for the only time. Lishnagar Oscar over in second, Down the Highway into a clear third on the inside of Mr. Caffrey. And after covering a circuit, Mr. Antolini remains last, but well in touch as they reach fence number 8. Black Hop, still the best part of 3 lengths clear of Lishnagar Oscar, who has a length advantage over Down the Highway heading into the next turn. And Mr. Caffrey and Mr. Antolini are both up sides as they level up to race to fences 9 and 10. So Black Hop, who's jumped soundly at the head of affairs, leads them over the 9th. Good 3 lengths clear. Mr. Caffrey parts the birch at that one, drops back last as they head on towards fence number 10. Black Hop by 4 lengths. Lishnagar Oscar Down the Highway, separated by less than a length in second and third. In fact, they were up sides jumping that fence. Mr. Antolini about a length behind them, and Mr. Caffrey, the first to come under any sort of pressure, is now beginning to struggle to keep in touch as Black Hop, with a 5-6 length advantage, heads off to the 2 fences in the back straight, with Down the Highway upsides Lishnagar Oscar in a share of second. 1 length behind them, and now making an effort is Mr. Antolini. Mr. Caffrey's detached by 5 lengths as Black Hop comes to jump 3 out, took it in his stride. Mr. Antolini was bold, went second. Lishnagar Oscar backed off it, lost ground behind Down the Highway as they come to jump the final open ditch. It's 2 from home, and Black Hop will lead Mr. Antolini Antalini by 3 lengths. Landing steep in third was down the highway. Lisnagar Oscar looks beaten back in fourth. He's 12 lengths behind the front running Black Op as they breast the rise on the far side, and 3 lengths adrift of them is Mr. Caffrey. Black Op has got most of his rivals on the stretch. His nearest pursuer, Mr. Antalini, is making an effort to close him down, only 2 lengths away, but there's a gap of 10 lengths then to Down the Highway and Lisnagar Oscar, and they're racing 3 to 4 lengths clear from Mr. Caffrey as they prepare to level for home. One more fence to jump homeward bound, and Black Op has a 2-length advantage. Mr. Antalini working hard to bridge the gap. 20 lengths has developed to Down the Highway, the disappointing Lisnagar Oscar and Mr. Caffrey on their way down towards the 13th and final fence. Black Op showing no signs of stopping. He wings the final fence, landed 7, 8 lengths clear. Mr. Antalini has been brushed aside in a matter of strides as virtually down at the last was Down the Highway. This is impressive. Black Op has made all of the running, jumped soundly and galloped his rivals into submission. Mr. Antalini ran second. Lisnagar Oscar was beaten turning down the back, came home a remote third. Mr. Caffrey was fourth and virtually pulled up after nearly falling at the last was Down the Highway.
Well, hard not to be impressed there with the performance of Black Op. He just looked a whole much more of a happy horse this time around after those 2 forays over fences last season. He looks as though he thoroughly enjoyed himself, lobbing along in front. He set a decent tempo, met virtually every fence on a stride, and I've no doubt that his trainer Tom George is delighted with that. Tom, can we grab a quick word? Congratulations. Crikey, that way a relief, but at the same time exciting as well.
Yeah, I mean, last season just everything went wrong which could go wrong. We couldn't school him early on, and he kept on going to races and couldn't run. And then it just, as I said, everything started to go wrong, and then we decided to pull up stumps and go back over hurdles. Well, this time round we've had a clean run of it. John has put a lot of work into him, and so has Henrietta Knight. He's been to see her as well for a morning or two, and it's all coming together now. I mean, he's always promised to be a very high-profile horse, and he showed that, you know, he's still got it.
And was that part of the plan today, to be positive on him from an early stage?
Yeah, I mean, he's such a big, long, free-striding horse. I think we said, right, let's forget about trying to be clever and holding him up and making him short and just be positive with him. I mean, as I said, he's the only horse who could go with Sam Crowe at Cheltenham. He's a Grade 1 novice hurdle winner, and he's got all the credentials to be a top-class horse.
Yeah, opens up all sorts of exciting possibilities now.
Yeah, it's just nice to get that under our belt, and plenty to look forward to.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That was really impressive from Black Op. I know that Lisnagar Oscar made a mistake and backed out of it ultimately, but it was the way Black Op jumped, and jumped better as the race progressed. He seemed to gain his confidence after the first 3 or 4 fences.
That was hugely impressive. Had the 2 runs over fences last winter. After that, returned hurdles, but they've given her another chance over the bigger obstacles, had a wind operation, and that was really impressive. Jumped well all the way around, had far too many gears from after that. And no matter how disappointing the favourite was, Lisnagar Oscar, can't take anything away from the winner, who was hugely impressive, I thought.
And you heard from Tom George afterwards, who was saying that you know, he's now got loads of options ahead of him. But we always get a little bit down on horses when they don't transfer their hurdling ability to